The glue that we used to hold on the hand blocks is dry now, so I can take it out of the clamps. I can take it out of the string. And I'll hold it between dogs, and I'm going to plane the blocks flush with the arm rail. Now it's important to keep the block uniform in thickness with the arm rail. Okay, we're ready now to move on. Our next step will be to mount the arm rail on the stumps, which means we have to locate this placement right here of this joint. Now the arm rail extends back beyond the seat. There's actually a gap between this surface and the rear edge of the seat, 7/8 of an inch. What that does is creates part of the recline that makes the chair more comfortable. Remember the happy guy in the drawing about when we talked about chair comfort? That's how we're going to accomplish a back with sufficient lean in it to make it more comfortable to sit in. We're going to do this using a very simple gauge that I'll show you. It's over here. We're going to use this simple gauge to establish the 7/8 inch gap. There are only two dimensions. This is 26 inches off the floor. It doesn't have to be all that precise. What does have to be precise is this thickness. This is 1.75 inches. This is a 7/8 inch arm rail. Laid on here, the gap becomes automatically 7/8 of an inch. With my gap established, I'm going to locate my first hole. And I do that by marking directly above the stump. That's where I'll drill the stump hole. Okay, something just a little different is going to happen now. When I drilled the hole for the stump in the seat, I drilled it at 17 degrees. When I drill this hole, I'm going to drill it at 19 degrees, and this is why. If I were to make both these angles 17, the arm rail would be parallel to the seat. It creates an optical illusion that causes the arm to look like it's actually rising up and back. To compensate for that, we drop it slightly so that the plane of the seat and the plane of the arm rail will converge at a common point behind the chair. It's just overcoming a very undesirable optical illusion. So this will be 19 degrees rather than 17. You don't have to go through this setup. I'm only doing it to show you where the information is coming from. I've laid the arm on the seat template as it would be relative to the seat when it's in the chair. I've established a 7/8 inch gap right here, and you can see where the sight line is going to intersect with the arm rail. So when I drill this hole, I'm going to drill it on a sight line to about there. Okay, I'm set up to drill. Create a 19-degree angle with my bevel square. And there's my setup from the hole to the point on the arm rail. When I drill this hole, I'm drilling it on the glue joint. If you made a good glue joint, it's actually stronger than wood. So it's a very safe placement. There's the setup. There we go. The top of the stump is also a reamed hole, so we're going to take care of that. We're going to turn the arm rail over, being sure to ream the bottom of the hole, not the top. Now grip it like this so that the sight line is vertical. Now when I ream, all I have to worry about is this relationship. Notice I've taken the pilot off my reamer, so it'll fit into a 7/16 hole. There we go. Now we take it to the chair and test it. We're going to return to the chair to find the location for the second hole. Notice I'm not using the gauge block again. I'm using my eye. What I'm going to do is lean forward until my eye is directly above this point. I close my left eye so I lose depth perception, and I look at the halo of floor that I see between this edge and this edge, and I simply move the arm rail till I get the very best placement. The two curves are not concentric, so this is symmetry I'm looking for, not concentricity. When you're looking at the halo of floor, this mark is irrelevant. I think that's the best placement right there. So again, I mark my second hole right above the stump. So we're going to drill the second hole, once again, on the joint and with a sight line back about here. This was about 2 inches, so I can make a mark if it helps. 19 degrees. 7/16 bit. And again, I use the slot in the handle of the bevel square like a pointer to establish Okay, now this too has to be reamed. We'll repeat the process. Now this seems like an awkward way to grip the arm rail, but if you were to do it this way, you're reaming the top of the hole. So this placement is important. Once again, sight line vertical. Both reamed, ready to test it on the chair. We have the arm rail on the stumps. We now need to get it down to a specific height. And those dimensions are on the dimension sheet that you can download from the website. The arm rail is going to be 9 5/8 from the top of the seat to the top of the arm rail on the plumb behind the stump. Because we want the arm rail to pitch and converge with the plane of the seat behind the chair, this measurement here from the top of the seat to the top of the arm rail will be 9 1/8 inches. As I measure, I'm 10 3/4 on that side. I'm 11 3/8 on this side. and I am 10 3/8 back there. So I've got pretty much the pitch established, but I need to come down to accomplish the heights that I desire. So I take this off. That brings me down to 10 3/8, 10 5/8, 9 3/4. So I have almost my 1/2 inch drop there. I'm still higher on this side than this, so I need to do more reaming over there. And I just want to confirm the halo of floor that I see, make sure that I haven't changed that. Ten inches, 10 inches, 9 1/4. I need to come down just a little bit more, 3/8 of an inch. That'll give me my 9 5/8, and that should come out at 9 1/8. Now, as I look at the stumps, I don't want to get any shorter than this. So I'm going to take the remainder of the height out of the arm rail. And that'll require me to return to the vise. I've reamed the two arm rail joints a little more, and that gets me down to 9 5/8, 9 5/8, and 9 1/8. That's the placement I want. Okay, I've made a mark in the outside of the hand block opposite the hole, because when I cover up the hole I can't see it, but I want the hole to be centered on this spur right here, because this is one of the wider parts of the arm. If the hole is back here, it's going to be much weaker. There you go. So I've traced the hand pattern on the hand block, and I'll cut that out on the bandsaw. But first I'll do the other side. Okay, I've sawn out the hand pattern, and now I'm just going to clean it up. There are a couple of ways to do that. One with a spoke shave. And then chisel will clean up the areas the shave can't reach. Now the other option is to do it with a rasp. And I'll clean up all four surfaces with a scraper. The next step will be to drill the blind holes in the seat. We drilled the 6 through holes when we were legging up. We refer again to the template. This was legging up. This is the back. And so the information on here I'm going to transfer to the seat, and I'm going to duplicate on that side. In order to drill a hole at a compound angle, we need a number of degrees and a sight line. And so we have the degrees written here, 16, 16, 16, 12, 4, and 4. And there are our sight lines. The center line, the short axis of the oval, is for the center spindle, and then all the remainder of the long spindles walk off about a ½ an inch from each other on the edge of the template. And then the front short spindle intersects here, and the second of the short spindles intersects there. So we just transfer that information. Now, as I say, they're about the long spindle sight lines intersected about a ½ an inch from each other along the Now, when we get to the short spindles, to avoid making a mistake because of confusion, we're going to use a mnemonic. This is the problem. All the long spindles have been radiating from a point out about here. When we get to the short spindles, the forward of the 2 short spindles intersects at this point back here. The rear of the 2 short spindles intersects with a point up here. In other words, they crisscross. All of these radiate, but these 2 crisscross. So to keep ourselves from making a mistake when we're working with the short spindles, we use this mnemonic. Front is back, back is front. And we will repeat that over and over, either in our minds or I even do it out loud, to keep myself from making a mistake and continuing to radiate. They crisscross. So front is back, back is front. Front is back. And back is front to a point 8 1/4 inches from the pommel. And so back is front. And there we go. all of these holes are 9/16 in diameter, and I set my depth stop to 1.5 inches. So the holes are going to be 1.5 inches deep. These 5 here are all at 16 degrees. Then I drop to 12. So I'm going to set my bevel to 16 degrees. And I'm going to use the slot in the handle parallel to the sight line. And once again, there's my angle. Okay, now for the last 2 long spindles, we change to 12 degrees. That completes the long spindles. Now we're going to do the shorts. Front is back, back is front. And if we look at the template, they're at 4 degrees. Front is back. Back is front. Front is back. Back is front. There we go. Now just one last thought about short spindles. The rule is everything about short spindles is different. As we work on the chair, if we do the same thing to the shorts that we've just done to the longs, we're doing it wrongly. Everything about the shorts is different. You've already seen the longs radiate, the shorts crisscross. There's more to come. Thank you for watching this content. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And check back frequently for more Windsor chair making tips and tutorials.